Toronto police investigate after 2 people are killed in 3 separate overnight shootings. Canada's Supreme Court grants full rights to more than 600,000 Métis and non-status Indigenous peoples, and also approves doctor-assisted death. Toronto City Council gets off to a bumpy start as it debates new rules for taxis and Uber. Hi, and welcome to Humber News. I'm Nick Westall, coming to you from our newsroom here at Humber College North Campus. We begin today with what was a deadly night in the city. 2 people are dead after 3 separate shootings in Toronto overnight. Our reporter Eric Wickham has the details in this report.
It's been a violent 24 hours in Toronto, with 3 shootings across the city, 2 of which were fatal. I'm here at Royal York and Lakeshore, where a man was shot in a parking lot behind this apartment building. The man was rushed to hospital with life-threatening injuries and pronounced dead around 3 a.m. Neighbors say the victim was visiting the apartment and not a resident. He suffered a single gunshot wound to the head. Elsewhere in the city, a man believed to be in his 20s was fatally shot at the busy intersection of Yonge and Bloor. Police are looking for 3 men suspected to be involved in the shooting. Closer to Humber, a security guard at Kipling and Dixon was shot at this morning. A single gunshot was fired into his security booth, but the man was unharmed. Police say investigations in all 3 cases are ongoing. No arrests have been made, but police have released descriptions of multiple suspects. Reporting from Mimico, Eric Wickham, Humber News.
In Ottawa, 2 highly anticipated Supreme Court decisions have been unveiled. After a 17-year struggle, the High Court has unanimously granted Indian status to 600,000 Métis and non-status Indigenous peoples under the Constitution. The court was asked to rule on whether the federal government has the same responsibility to Métis and non-status Indians as to status Indians and the Inuit. The court says the federal government has both an ethical and legal duty to the country's Indigenous peoples. The Supreme Court has also just released new legislation on physician-assisted death. Doctor-assisted dying will now be legal for mentally competent adults who have serious and incurable illness, disease, or disability. The new legislation was sparked by a Supreme Court ruling in February last year, which said the ban violated Canadians' charter rights. Meanwhile, at City Hall this hour, it is a tense scene as councillors are debating new rules for ride-sharing services such as Uber. Today's meeting has shaped up to be a taxi versus Uber debate. The Licensing and Standards Committee is looking at loosening the rules to allow for ride-sharing services and reducing the regulations for cabs. The proposal calls for criminal background checks for all drivers and new licensing fees for private drivers. It also suggests taxi brokers be able to offer discounts for people who hail cabs through online apps.
After she did that, she started
You'll remember this scene late last year when taxi drivers protested in downtown Toronto. They argued the city wasn't doing enough to protect their industry from ride-sharing services. If today's report is approved, it will go to full council, where it's expected several councillors will object to making it easier for services like Uber to operate. Humber College is revving up for the motorcycle season, and today they're talking safety. Humber is hosting Motorcycle Awareness Day to educate new riders on how to take the high road. Our reporter Christiana Chan was there and has the story.
Toronto Police and Humber College partnered up today to talk about motorcycle and road safety. Since 1995, there have been 63 motorcyclist fatalities in Toronto, so Toronto Police are here to address the situation and give tips to motorcyclists getting back on the road.
Taking a motorcycle out today is a great idea, but in doing so, you must be aware that unfortunately today is the kind of day, bright and sunny, when you need to be at the top of your game. Statistically, today is the type of day that you are most likely to be involved in a fatal collision, regardless of if you are walking, cycling, driving, or operating a motorcycle.
Humber's Chris Whitaker attended the event to shed some light on the importance of bringing the event to Humber.
Also, we're a large institution and heavily involved in the community that we're in. So we want to promote safety generally within the Humber community, but also the community that extends beyond here.
Toronto Police set up cones at the Humber parking lot to mimic intersections. The demonstration by the Toronto Police is at full swing right now, where they have set up an obstacle course to show how to properly maneuver and drive safely on the roads. So for anyone who's getting back on the road today, make sure to follow these tips.
Check your mirrors. Use your mirrors before you make a lane change. Always double check to make sure there's not a motorcycle maybe in your blind spot or coming up from behind you, because they are far smaller than a vehicle.
Christiana Chan, Humber News.
Let's head south of the border now, where the U.S. primaries are in full swing. This was the scene outside Donald Trump's rally in Pittsburgh yesterday. 3 anti-Trump protesters were arrested after clashing with police, but the protest didn't slow down Trump. Inside the event, he told the crowd that the nomination procedure was rigged.
You say, what's going on? Then I say, oh, it's a rigged system. You know, they have things called superdelegates, and we have a different system, which is equally rigged. And what it does is allows the bosses to pick whoever they want. And whoever they want is a guy like Romney, who's a stiff, who frankly blew the election last time.
To the Sanders camp now, the Democrat held a rally in New York City yesterday. Sanders says the difference between him and the other candidates can be seen in how his campaign is financed.
We had to make a choice. Would we do what every other campaign is doing and establish a super PAC? We agreed with you.
Sanders and fellow Democrat Hillary Clinton square off in a debate tomorrow night. New York picks its Republican and Democratic representatives on April 19th. Over to Massachusetts, where security preparations are underway for this year's Boston Marathon. Monday's race will be the third running since the bombing in 2013. The FBI says that no direct threats have been made to the marathon, but additional security is being taken. Included in the measures is a ban on drones and radiation sensing technology. The mayor of Boston says that it's important for the public to be attentive.
It's very important for you if you see something that's out of the ordinary, particularly the Boston Police Department. If you see a police officer, let them know, or let an official know of the BAA, because it's important that just in case something is going on, we want to make sure we prevent something.
Security officials say they were hoping that they wouldn't have to up security this year, but they say the events in Brussels and San Bernardino increase their concerns. At least 30,000 people are expected to run in the marathon on Monday. Overseas, the number of dead has risen in Syria as the conflict rages on in the war-torn nation. Video posted to social media shows people wounded after airstrikes targeted rebel-held areas in Homs province. The upsurge in conflict has threatened a ceasefire agreement put into effect by Russia and the United States. The escalation of violence could lead to the collapse of the Syrian peace talks set to reconvene in Geneva this week. Meanwhile, more migrants have been rescued by the Italian Coast Guard in the Mediterranean. This video released from the Coast Guard shows officers escorting rubber boats. Over 2,000 migrants were saved in the Strait of Sicily on Tuesday, including many small children. The European Union says the alarming numbers of potential migrants were gathering in Libya to cross the Mediterranean. The EU suggests it might signal an increase in the number of migrants wanting to go to Europe. Back to Humber now, students at the North Campus are partaking in a 5K run to raise money and awareness for the Colorectal Cancer Association of Canada. Our reporter Katie Jones is there and joins us live. Hi Katie, set the scene for us.
All right, well, I'm here at Humber's 11th annual Walk and Run campaign. This year, they're partnering up with Sophie's Run, an organization that is designed to spread awareness and raise money for rectal cancer. Now, the woman behind this is actually a Humber faculty member who lost her mother several years ago due to the cancer. She has since said that if it's found at an early enough stage and treated, it is very preventable. So today, we could say that the 5-kilometer run is Nicole's warm-up for her big 500-kilometer race, starting here at Humber's North Campus all the way to Ottawa Parliamentary Hill on May 18th. So far today, there has been over 400 registered participants, and it looks like it's been a really good time. Entry was only $2. So reporting here from Humber College, I'm Katie Jones, Humber News.
Thanks so much, Katie. And indoors, Humber's business management students decided to turn up the heat with a floor hockey challenge for a great cause. Our reporter Sarah Wickett was there to check out the action.
Are you stressed out about exams? Well, the business management students have been working hard over the past few weeks to put on a fun event for a great cause.
Well, today we're actually hosting an event. It's called a hockey shootout. And we're also raising money for Hats Off to Kids, which is actually going to be donated, and it is part of Sick Kids.
The business management students chose to incorporate a hockey shootout in their event because it's rarely seen at Humber. Some students say it's harder than it looks.
I got nothing. I shot nothing yet. Yeah, I guess it's different than a puck, right? Like it's a ball, so shooting's weird.
Meanwhile, others were just happy to play for a good cause.
I didn't do that bad. I got 3 out of 10. I was expecting a 4 out of 4 performance, but what can you do? I don't know. It's just different curve in the stick. It's a different curve, but there's no excuses. It's all for a good cause, and yeah, that's all that matters.
The person who hits the most targets in 30 seconds wins 2 movie tickets and a $25 Tim Hortons gift card. So if you're looking for a way to blow off steam, come on down to the HSF cafeteria. The event is only $2 and all proceeds will go towards Hats Off to Kids. Sarah Wickett, Humber News.
When we come back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports, and Marino Greco will have your 3-day forecast.
Looks like it's finally time to cast away your coats and toss your toques, Humber. I'll have your full forecast in a little bit.
And across the pond, the Royals are getting ready to celebrate a big milestone. Queen Elizabeth is turning 90 years old. The Queen is the world's longest-serving monarch. She was born April 21st, 1926, and was not expected to become the monarch. Elizabeth ascended to the throne after her father, King George VI, died in 1952. There has been speculation for more than 25 years that she would step down to make way for her son, Prince Charles, but it doesn't look like that will be happening anytime soon.
I think the public would accept that the Queen might want to put her feet up, but the Queen doesn't want to put her feet up. She wants to carry on. I think she realises if she stopped, she'd never start again.
The Queen plans to meet with members of the public on the big day next week.